like to start previewing the Georgia Tech baseball season. We've got Ben King here, pitcher for Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Ben, thanks for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely one of the better years from the pitching staff last year. Granted, probably not the best year, but obviously not the best year the team's had. But what sticks out for you, either personally or just overall theme-wise, from 2023?
Last year was really a special year for me with the way that my career has gone here at Tech. I had my freshman year was a COVID year, so didn't get to pitch much. And then I had a couple decent outings my sophomore year early in the season, then ended up blowing out my elbow and had to have Tommy John surgery in the middle of that year. And so then I missed most of my junior year, or most of my sophomore year and all of my junior year.
Yeah.
And so I was a senior and had thrown 6 innings in my college baseball career. And so, kind of going into last year, I really was planning on last year being my last baseball season. And I just wanted to get whatever I could out of it. I didn't know how well my arm would hold up, and just wanted to contribute to the team on the field. Yeah. And so to get the opportunity I think I was third or fourth on the team in innings and led the team in appearances, to get the opportunity to pitch that much, regardless of the circumstances, meant a lot to me. And we had some moments as a team last year, but we all know that, that wasn't the standard that we want to be at, especially as a pitching staff. And that's kind of been the MO of our team this year, and through the fall and into the preseason practice here, that we know we've got to be better pitching and defense.
I forgot you had Tommy John. I've heard stories that like some people, their elbow feels invincible after they get Tommy John. And it goes I've heard Eric O'Flaherty talking about this recently, where like his shoulder is the thing that bothers him, but his elbow's been fine since he had TJ. Are you able to feel like a real difference between pre and post surgery?
So I'm weird in that I've had it twice.
Okay.
So I had a UCL primary repair, which is a slightly different surgery than like classical Tommy John surgery. Yeah. I had that when I was a sophomore in high school. And so when I came back from that surgery, my elbow felt fine. It was good enough to get recruited to be at Georgia Tech, but it never felt totally normal. And so then coming back after the second surgery, I had the full, I tore that same UCL again. And so then had the full reconstruction the second time. And my elbow really has felt a lot better, like this go around. I've had some issues with my shoulder a little bit, just like some bicep tendonitis stuff. And it was kind of in the middle of the season last year. Like there was a point, we played at BC, and it was like 40 degrees that whole weekend. And I threw twice that weekend, and then came back home and we played UNC the next weekend. And I remember I barely threw, like even played catch during the week that week because my shoulder was hurting so bad. And then came back out and threw pretty well against UNC that next weekend. But that's really the only issue I've had with my arm after the surgery is just I've had some bad bicep tendonitis, but nothing really serious structurally.
That's got to be reassuring though, that you just power, especially for how many innings you threw, you just power through and not have that come up again. Starting versus relieving, is there a difference to you in your head in terms of how you're preparing for that? Do you like one or the other more, or is the spontaneity of relieving, just seeing how the game goes, fun to you? How does that work in your head?
So for me, I'm kind of traditionally at least in college, have always been like a relief pitcher. I started, I think, 3 games last year, and that was kind of just out of pure necessity. Yeah. I think if you'd have asked anybody at the beginning of the year on our coaching staff or on our team that I was going to be starting the do or die game in the ACC tournament for us, that we all would have been really surprised and kind of wondered what would have happened to have led to that moment. So I am a little partial to being a reliever. Part of that comes from the fact my slider is my bread and butter pitch, and so as a reliever, I feel like I'm better able to come in and
to get change of pace.
Right, and especially last year because I threw my slider 80% of the time last year, and so as a reliever, I was able to come in, be a change of pace, and really keep guys off balance. That has been a big focus for me personally this fall. I'm throwing 4 pitches now, 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball, I've added a changeup and my slider. So, hopefully to kind of be in the position where if the team needs me to start this year, I'll be able to do that. And then obviously if I'm back in the bullpen, then I'll be well equipped to do that. But I really just want to do whatever I can do to help the team in whatever role that is. I know that I'll be pitching big innings, so it doesn't really matter to me where it is in the game that I'm throwing.
That's cool. That's good to have all the options that you need there. I was only fastball, curveball, but as long as you got change speed and get movement, you're in good shape. Tell me what excites you about the team this year. Obviously, a bunch of change, but what's sticking out to you now about what this year might look like?
Well, we've got a ton of new guys, especially on the offensive side, or position player wise. And part of what excites me about them is the defense. I feel like that, obviously our pitching staff has not been good the last few years by any stretch of the imagination, but we haven't been good defensively either. And so I feel like there's been a lot of times where that has kind of compounded on us. Where even if it's a play that's not necessarily an error, it's a ball that as a pitcher, it's a tough play, ground ball, and if a guy makes it, he gets you out of the inning, and we just haven't had
pitching to 4 outs, 4 to 5 outs is a huge difference.
And so I really feel confident about our defenses here. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of those guys, especially in the infield. I think we're going to be very solid defensively. And then from a pitching staff wise, I'm just really excited to see the work that we've done with our new pitching coach Matt Taylor and Jason Richmond, Deck McGuire, all have been our kind of pitching coach staff. To see the work they've done with a lot of these guys that have been in the program for a couple of years now, and I've seen all of them show kind of flashes of brilliance over the last few years, and to see if we can really kind of put that together. Guys like Cam Hill, Logan McGuire, Aiden Finatieri, this is their third year in the program, and I really feel like that all three of those guys are definitely poised to take a big step in the right direction. I think Cam showed that this summer in the Cape.
His stats were big. That was really impressive.
He's ready to have a great year. Aiden is just a really competitive guy. He's a bulldog on the mound, and every time he's out there, I trust that he's gonna get it done. And then Logan had we were all really counting on Logan to be one of our best pitchers last year, and then he had a season-ending elbow injury the second weekend of the year, and that really hurt us from a pitching staff standpoint. So between those three younger guys that I feel like have matured and gotten older and are going to be in a position to really help us contribute, and then me and having Terry Bussey back, Terry was the best closer in the country last year for the first half of the season, and then he kind of got asked to switch into a role that he hadn't been prepared for, and into starting, and it, so his stats didn't look as great at the end of the year, but he's a tremendous pitcher. So we've got the guys there. It's really just a matter of, can we get the right breaks this year? I feel like we've had some of the worst luck as a pitching staff over the last couple of years in terms of injuries and stuff just not working out for guys. So can we get a couple breaks, and can we have some guys that develop and really can become what we're asking them and need them to be? And I think we do.
Nice. You mentioned Matt Taylor, new pitching coach this year. Have you picked up anything new from him over these last few months? Is there anything that you're planning on implementing? I guess the change-up may be part of that you're hoping to implement this year?
For sure. So Matt's been great. I've loved working with him. And so for me, obviously the change-up has been a big addition for me. And I'm hopeful that that's going to increase my game. But just generally, he puts a huge focus on us getting swings. So he wants us to be attacking the strike zone. We want guys to be swinging, because if they're swinging, it's going to be a good result. Right. You're not going to be throwing balls. Even if the best hitters in the country are hitting, 300, 350. So that's still 70% of the time they're getting themselves out. That's if they put the ball in play. That's not even accounting for if they're swinging and missing or fouling it off. So he's just really pounded that into our heads, like as much as we attack the strike zone. And then when you get into 2 strike counts, to finish, be ready. When you have somebody on the ropes, put them away, don't mess around, strike the guy out. And so I feel like that's really helped me personally, that mindset. I feel like I've been able to really buy into that, and I feel like as a pitching staff that we all have kind of bought into that mentality.
And I'm sure that helps with just sheer efficiency as well.
Absolutely.
Seasons long, you're playing 50, 60 games a year, and more hopefully if you get down the road in the tournament. But yeah, if you can save your arm in February, March as much as you can, just because you're just throwing a 1-2 counts more frequently than 3-2s or whatever. Yeah, that checks out as a huge help.
Absolutely.
Also, you mentioned Deck McGuire. You got Matt Wieters here. Tex has been around a bunch. I'm curious about this kind of selfishly, because I stopped playing in high school, and so I never got the college experience. But does the added level of experience of guys that have touched the pros, and I know a lot of the other coaches like been in the minors and stuff like that, are you able to feel like the difference of what they're bringing to the table because of they've had that top level experience when it comes to the day-to-day grind of, okay, here's little things they were thinking about when they had to go face Rivera or whoever the best pitchers are nowadays?
Absolutely. I think, I mean, that's been kind of one of the biggest hidden surprises, I feel like, of getting to play at Georgia Tech is getting to be around some of those type of guys, you know, having Teixeira come by practice and talk with us a little bit, and then obviously having Weedy around the program, and then Deck this year. I mean, I remember when I was rehabbing from my Tommy John surgery, Deck came around he was still at the end of his career, and so in the off season he came around a couple times, and he was still training and throwing. And so one day I spent probably 30 minutes talking to him and trying to pick his brain about, you know, how he attacked hitters and how he threw different pitches. And so now to have a guy like that back on our coaching staff with us every day, you know, he's playing out in the outfield, playing catch with us when we need somebody to throw with. I mean, it's invaluable to have those type of guys around the program, and the amount of information that they have and wisdom that they have about baseball, it just can't be understated.
Do they ever go into a story where you're like, wait a second, I watched that game, or like you knew about that kind of situation, stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't know that necessarily has happened. I
guess more with Weeders because he actually had a lot of games in the AL East.
I mean, they've got tons of stories. I mean, like with, you know, Deck he's hilarious. He's a very self-deprecating guy at times, so he loves to tell a story about how it was some milestone number, I think, of home runs. He gave up a home run to Albert Pujols, and so he loves to tell that story. And but yeah, I mean, you know, from just between the stories of, you know, this is how you be a big leaguer, this is how you get to that point, this is how you play the game, and then also the funny stories of, you know, this is what it's like to be living on the road, this is what it's like in the clubhouse in the big leagues. You know, it's just great to be around those guys.
That's really cool. Roster-wise, baseball's one of the more volatile ones because you can how the draft rules work, and you can go in high school, opt out. It's just a bunch of different ways you can be on or off a college team. This year was a heavy maybe the heaviest transfer year the team's ever seen. How does that impress upon you as a guy that's stuck it out that's been here for 4 seasons now? Does it feel like you change your role at all? Like, okay, you're welcoming freshmen to get them acclimated, but now you're welcoming sophomores and juniors who have they've done college, they just haven't done Georgia Tech in college. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a growth thing for me over the last 4 or 5 years. I was very blessed that when I got here, you know, I guess 4.5 years ago now, that the upperclassmen that we had on the team were guys that were consciously making an effort to provide a good culture, and they wanted our culture to be better as a team, wanted to be more, you know, encouraging and inclusive of the younger guys on the team. So, you know, I'm just thinking of the pitchers that were on some of those teams, like a guy like Hugh Chapman, guy like Joseph Manley. I mean, those guys were a couple years ahead of me baseball-wise. They were upperclassmen when I got here. Right. I'm still incredibly close with those guys. I'm getting married this summer, and they're going to be in my wedding.
Oh, nice.
And so to have those type of guys kind of set that type of culture and that type of mentality when I got here as an underclassman, that's been a big focus for me and for some of my peers as we've gotten older. And so it really is kind of just now the last two of the old guard of my grade are me and John Giesler. And so Coach Hall named us both the co-captains this fall. And so I think we both have kind of tried to be really intentional about, you know, like you're saying, that it's a very new team. And you kind of have to – it's different to talk to a freshman than it is to talk to a fifth-year transfer. You know, the fifth-year transfers, those guys know what they're doing. Like they come in, it's a different place, different school and all, but they played a lot of college baseball and they know how to handle their business. And you know, all the guys that our coaches brought in, they were looking for not just guys that were good baseball players, but good fit, personality-wise and culture-wise. And so we really just make it a priority with the younger guys, with the freshmen, to make sure that we're showing those guys the ropes. And you know, this is what it means to be at Georgia Tech. This is what it means to be a Georgia Tech baseball player. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job with that. I like where our team is at culture-wise right now.
Nice. That's really cool. Do y'all have like a stated goal, like we as a team, like we want to get to this round or win the X number of games or whatever?
I mean, I think you know, kind of the rallying cry in our locker room right now is Omaha, and it's one of those things where I've been here the last few years, and I haven't ever heard us talk as much about going to Omaha as we have this year, between the coaching staff, between the guys in the locker room. Part of that may be that it is such a new team, and with it being such a new team, it kind of brings a lot of excitement in the locker room, because we're kind of like, how good can we be? You know, why can't we go to Omaha?
But your ceiling is, well, you're going to find out what the ceiling is at this point.
Yeah. So, you know, and who knows how the season will go. It's baseball, you know, so it's all we can do is control the controllables and just work hard and let everything else take care of itself. But that definitely is our goal, and I feel like that should be the goal for this program. You know, it's the guys that have come through here, the big leaguers like we're talking about. There have been some tremendous players, some tremendous teams in Georgia Tech baseball history, and so our goal is to get back to Omaha. We want to be an Omaha caliber program, you know, and that's what we're going to try to do this year. And if it's not this year, then that's what the guys are going to continue trying to do moving forward. Yeah,
no, I think y'all are. I mean, if Hall's shown anything, consistency is definitely a thing with this team. So I definitely do not doubt that y'all have the ability to get there. Final question: it's midnight. You realize it's prime time to go get something at Cookout. What are you ordering?
So I'm getting a double cheeseburger tray with fries and cheddar cheese bites, and a milkshake with Oreos and M&Ms.
That's a lot of candy inside that milkshake.
Yes, it is. It's almost like paste at a certain point, but it's very.
I haven't had M&Ms. Is it like, how crushed are they?
They're pretty crushed.
Okay,
up.
They're pretty crushed. Okay,
yeah.
Good. Okay,
but they add a little bit of texture to it. It's pretty nice.
That's true. I usually used to get fries, but I've switched to Cajun fries, and just the extra seasoning, it helps a lot. Yeah. It helps a lot. Yeah. So
I love Cookout. That's a good spot.
I'm glad we have two of them within very quick driving distance.
That's right.
Of campus. Ben King, thanks a ton for coming on. Good luck this season. We'll be watching.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, to wrap us out, we have John Giesler, senior first baseman. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, happy to be here.
On the senior year, how do you feel about it? Just being on the older end of things, do you enjoy campus differently because you're on the older end? You've recognized more folks. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, well, I'm a super senior. This is my 5th season here, so been doing this for a long time. I'm in grad school now, so I have night class.
That is different.
Yeah. So after practice, I got to go sit over in class from about 6:30 to 9:15 every night. So yeah, that's a little bit of a grind. That's different. But I mean, as far as the baseball, know kind of what I'm doing here. Know how to work here. So yeah, I mean, it's at this point, after being here for 5 seasons, it's clockwork.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now I'm curious. What's worse, the 8 a.m.'s freshman year or the 8 o'clockers this time?
Only the stupid freshmen scheduled 8 a.m.'s freshman year. I mean, the good thing is we work out in the morning, so I mean that forces you to get up, and you get up at 6:30 and work out till 7:30, then you just take a quick shower, go over to those 8 a.m. classes. I'd say, I mean, they're both hard. I mean, but when I'm doing it alone, I don't really have anybody on the team to go to the class with. I'm just out there a bit of a loner. Yeah, I'd say it's a different challenge.
That certainly is. Yeah, that'll be that's one way to wrap it. You just take classes slowly later and later in the day throughout the years. That's I was in Shellers, had the same experience too. Once I got near the end, you mentioned it's the off season. Everything's clockwork for you now. What is your approach just when you're going into the off season? Are you the kind of guy that wants to be at the facility all the time, or after the season's over, are you taking some time off and resetting? How do you do that?
I'm the type of, like I said, I'm 5th year senior here. I'm the type of guy that still considers myself to be a walk-on freshman, just trying to make the team. If I'm not doing everything I need to, I won't be able to sleep. Yeah, it's just the way I am. So I haven't really seen, my work. Haven't seen anything, slip, because it would drive me crazy. I still come to the field every day like I'm trying to just get on the roster and make the team, which sounds ridiculous considering 23 years old. But it's just the way my brain works. So nothing's changed for me over the last few years.
That's good. I mean, that sounds like a generic tech kid as well. Like you just grinding everything until you're dead, and you just figure it out from there. Okay. How do you approach your at bats? just in general? Do you like to? Do you have like just a thing that you're just like, okay, I'm just trying to get launch angle, trying to just solid contact, going the other way, pull? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, every pitcher is different. There's definitely if the guy's got some run on his fastball, definitely trying to do something a little different there. Where if the ball's running away, hitting's hard.
Yeah.
So you do not need to overcomplicate things, and
Sure.
the best thing you can do is just be on time for a fastball and adjust to the off speed. I mean, that's what coaches preach since you're a little kid.
Yeah.
But that's really what works, and just as you get older, you get a little more mature, and you know when to go and what counts.
Yeah.
If you get a breaking ball to hit in a 2-1 count, you've probably got to go on it. You don't want to get to 2 strikes. But if you get that same pitch in a 0 count, you may not go on it. But yeah, every pitch is different, and this is something that we work on. Our approach with Ramsey and the cages and hitting off the machine and the scout meetings all the time. So by the time you get in the box, you really know what you're doing,
right? And
then you just go up there and you stop thinking, and then you just hit.
Yeah. Your slugging percentage went up a ton last year. What was it working for you in terms of just making your slugging percentage? Okay. What your average was 333, slugging was somewhere in the 5s. Like, what was working for you in terms of finding more solid contact? Was it the prep, or was it just your swing found a good zone? How was that for you?
Yeah, I think it definitely starts with just getting good pitches to hit, and just trying to get the barrel on the ball. I mean, if you're playing every day and you get the barrel on the ball enough, you're going to hit balls into the gap, and sometimes it's going to run out of the park. That's just what's going to happen. I mean, not going up there trying to slug doubles or hit home runs. For me, I'm really just trying to keep it simple and get the barrel on the ball, and good things are going to happen. That's the only way I can hit.
Hard hit balls always work for the most part. So when you're practicing, do you like using metrics? Do you worry about that kind of stuff, or are you like?
I'm such a little. I'm pretty old school with all this stuff. I like looking at exit velo.
Yeah.
Just seeing myself progress over time. If I really hit a ball and barrel it up, I'd like to see okay, like good, like that was 105 off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like scouting pitchers and stuff, I mean, it's all our Ramsey and all our staff, and they're head above heels above us with all that stuff. I mean, I think one of the worst things a hitter can do is try and overcomplicate it and get themselves caught up in the data and the metrics. For me, I just shoot, just get your foot down and get the barrel on the ball. Around. Yeah, I mean, that's
not a Bryson DeChambeau then. Got it. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. More of a like Tom Watson.
There you go. Yes.
What is your highest exit velo you've seen yourself get?
In a game, I probably hit one like 109, 110 last year. Pitcher caught out front. In practice, we got guys hitting balls like 111 all the time, like 115 from Matthew Ellis. But
cool.
I'm not really. And when I'm in practice, I'm really just every time just trying to take a game swing and a game approach. Not cheating a fastball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in practice, last round of BP, trying to hit a ball, probably up to 107, 108. But yeah, I mean, a hit's a hit.
Yeah, true. No, you're beating most with that. Yeah. You mentioned you've been here, but year 5, you said, for you just on campus, and then this team has had really fun ups. Got all the way to the face of that crazy Tennessee team a couple of years ago. Last year, obviously not the greatest year y'all have had, but for you, what has been the story of this team that you've kind of told yourself or that you think about?
So, I mean, when I got here, the transfer portal wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And I got really close with my recruiting class. They were around until junior year, and a lot of them stayed for senior year before the draft. And yeah, I'd say, I mean, it's definitely with the portal, we brought in a lot of guys this year. It's definitely, it's a different feeling than how it's been in the past. But I mean, nothing changes. Everyone still shows up every day to work, and we're all just trying to get better, and everyone just trying to be a good teammate. And everyone's just everyone's bought into to win games, and that's how it's always been. So that hasn't changed. The teammates change. You play with new guys every year.
Yeah.
That's just the one thing that's different. I mean, every team's different.
Yeah, talk about the transfer portal. You've been 12 new guys this year just from the portal alone. How do you think you've adjusted to just the fact that it's the new guys can come from a bunch of different places now instead of just the reliable, okay, they're all going to be 17, 18-year-old kids that lack the experience of this, but now you got a mix of experience coming in all at the same time?
Well, a lot of the guys that we brought in, they're really experienced baseball players. They've played a lot of good programs. So none of them are here mess around, and I think it's a good thing too, because they may have played some good somewhere else.
Yeah.
But now you come into Georgia Tech and it's like, okay, I'm a 23-year-old. I'm a fifth-year transfer, but I still have a lot to prove.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a new environment, new team, new coach, new league.
Different competition levels.
Yes.
So different.
Yes. So they have something to prove the same way that a freshman or a sophomore would.
Of the non-baseball sports, do you have a favorite sports, at least the non-baseball games that you played in here? Do you have a favorite memory from another sport at Tech since you've been here?
Probably a football game. I had a lot of fun watching the Tech football team win this year. And the UNC game was.
Were you at that game?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
That was dope. Yeah.
I've always liked going to the basketball games. Yeah, I definitely say this whole the football season as a whole this year was pretty exciting to watch. I mean, I definitely felt more like a Tech football fan this year than I ever have.
Understandably too. Yeah.
I love Brent Key, and I think he's an awesome. He's an awesome coach.
Yeah.
He's a hardo, but I think he's got that program moving in the right direction. It's something I'm gonna follow now. Yeah. Especially when I'm out of here.
Yeah. Does it? I've heard other athletes talk about this. Do you the sense of camaraderie between the athletes in the different sports on campus? Is that a thing? Do you try to keep up with other athletes on the other teams? Are you going to their games as much as the others?
I mean, being a student athlete, you are so busy.
Yeah.
So it's it's a Tuesday night and the basketball team's going, like they're playing. It's late. I'm tired. Like,
right. Yeah.
I'd love to.
You already did your work.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to go watch your game, but I mean, it's hard. But I mean, I definitely try and go at least to like 1 or 2 games a year from the other sports. I think it's just cool to experience that. And then to answer the other part of the question, I'd say I got 2 or 3 good friends on each of the teams.
Yep.
Like golf and tennis. A couple guys on the football team. I mean, definitely a lot closer with the guys on your own team.
Right.
But just meeting guys from class, meeting guys you grew up, or knowing guys from your hometown and stuff, or guys you used to play sports with. I'd say definitely a few guys on each team.
Okay, you mentioned being closer to home with how baseball and softball works. Most of the folks that play are from the Southeast because it's a warmer sport. And you only came down from Marietta. I came from inside the perimeter, so moved all 7 miles to come to Tech. Have you enjoyed being in college close to home? Were you one of those people that wanted to try something new and just how the recruiting cycle worked out? Just Tech ended up making most sense?
Yeah, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me to come to Tech. I mean, awesome school, awesome baseball program. Yeah. It's in state. But I would say that even though I'm 25 minutes from home, at the max. Yeah. But because of the city and because when I'm on campus, it's like I'm at college. I'm not in Georgia. I'm not I don't feel like I'm close to home. Yeah. It's nice, when I go see my parents or anything, it's a 20-minute drive. Just hop on 75 and I'm there. So that's nice, but I do not I don't feel like I'm at home. I feel like I'm here at Georgia Tech and college kid.
Feel separate enough to where you can not
feel like
yes,
you're
I feel like there's just a big bubble force field around.
That was the first thing I noticed when I came to campus was I am sitting next in the icy lawn and I cannot hear traffic. This is a very strange feeling for the smack middle of the city, but it's one of the great perks of this place. Do you have any personal goals for the season where you want to land, whether it's numbers wise or just your own, just how you play or anything?
honestly, I couldn't care less. I just
win, baby.
Yeah, I was talking to King about this, and we have pretty similar stories. We came here, both walk-on freshmen, literally just trying to make the team, right? So once you make the team, then it's like, okay, I want to get on the field.
Yeah.
You get on the field, it's like, okay, now I want to start.
Right.
And then you want to play well, but now after you've been doing this for so long, now all you care about is winning.
Yeah.
And that's really all I want for this team. It's just for us to win games. If we win games, we're all going to be playing well. We're all going to have great stats, but that comes with
right.
winning.
Yeah, it's the byproduct of the effort and stuff like that. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Final question: is there a game? I mean, I know Georgia's a big game, big series, and everything. Is that the series you look forward to the most, or are there other series you look forward to, or is it all just in the wash in terms of we're just playing a color that's not white and gold?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's definitely the first test, because we got.
Yeah, because they're early on the schedule.
Yeah, we got early. They're first Power 5 team that we play, and obviously that series means a lot. We got our butts handed to us last year at home, so being able to play in front of our home crowd, play well in front of them, and win that game, that would mean a lot. But yeah, I'd say that's. I mean, shoot, like the season's such a grind. Like
it is. Yeah.
Like when we're playing Radford week 1, like the only thing that matters is Radford.
Right.
You're not every weekend is its own Super Bowl essentially.
Right.
I mean there's big ACC series that you look forward to, but you don't really understand like how much each of those series meant until after the conference.
Right.
Season.
That's true. Yeah. Because you see the results of that as well. Has any of those locations just kind of stuck out in your mind more of just the schools like, okay, no, they have the fan base, they have the vibe and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think I definitely think when we fly we had a great experience in Pittsburgh 2 years ago. That was fun. I always liked going to Miami. Obviously, it's Miami. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Excited to go to Florida State this year. I've never been down there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I know that'll mean a lot to Ramsey because obviously he played there.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that one. I think that one's our last conference series.
Yeah,
this year.
last
I mean,
year
it'll be May.
Yeah.
It'll be 110 degrees down there. That'll be fun. Boston school, and some of the fan bases are a lot of fun to play in front of. Virginia Tech last year.
They were rowdy.
They were rowdy. Clemson's always got a ton of fans. I mean, but again,
it's the ACC. We're good at everything.
Again, when you really only when you're playing a series, you're not looking forward to who you're playing next week. You're really only focused on
that one game.
Yeah, that one game, that Friday game, that Saturday game.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Well, we're looking forward to seeing y'all get at it. We'll definitely be at as many games as we can get to, and hope to see hit some nukes and other stuff throughout the season, man. So, John, thanks a ton.